a lot of people look at Shark Tank and they don't think it's like a real business thing. They just think it's like Hollywood. But you're actually investing in some of these companies, right? Right?
Well, it don't sound like you believe in it
No,
either.
I'm just saying for the public.
15 seasons of them.
For the public.
I got you.
So, but
Yo, man. Oh, I didn't give you my number yet, did I? All right.
15 seasons of investing.
So let's talk about some successes.
Let's talk about but you know what? I was sitting with somebody the other night and he said to me the same thing. And I said, man, why would you ask me that? I said, because after all these years, don't you think it would have came out? First of all, if it was not my money, I'd get everybody. How much you need? And then every one of my cousins and nephews and uncles would have been on that. Yo, Pookie, man, what you need? I got you. Mm-hmm. Right? So first of all, that. Second of all, the pitches are hour long. Average out. We don't know anything about the entrepreneurs because somebody said, well, Daymond, how much you know about them? If I knew about them, I wouldn't even tell them to come down the aisle because you wouldn't hear me say stuff like, hey, on your social media, you said some derogatory things 6 years ago about women or about veterans, right? You don't hear that because I don't know anything, right? We would have the upper hand on these things. But again, then why do I even wait for you to come down the aisle and say I'm out? Why would I even play, you know what I mean, or act, right? So they're real, and it's our own money. That's why, so a lot of times people go, so first of all, hour long, 16 cameras shooting it, 16 hours of footage for you to see 8 minutes. I've had people go, yo, D, why would you give somebody 10 seconds to decide on something so critical in their life? I've been offering you $100,000 for 30 minutes. You're not looking at me and you want to kiss Mark Cuban's big pasty white ass. Can you give me an answer?
I'm out.
So it is as real it gets. And you see us sometimes have teeth in various ways because there have been people that have went off and paid all their bills and not put the money in the company or lied or like, yo, man, I'm doing so we don't close the deals right there. We close about 80% of the deals. It takes us anywhere from 6 to 9 months to close the deal. Sometimes I'm like, yo, why don't you tell me you owe the IRS $1 million? They'll be like, you ain't ask. I ain't mad at that.
Wasn't good for
you know
TV.
What I mean?
It wasn't good for TV.
Yeah, so we got to bet it. We got to bet these deals. And that's why you see sometimes the nastiness because we've been through it for 15 years and there are a good amount of people who are either they're green. I don't personally believe anybody has gotten up on there and said, I want to lie and I want to steal. I do not believe in that. More importantly, though, the other side of it, man, we've seen so many people that have changed their lives and have educated and empowered other people. I no longer have to come up with the biggest and best idea myself. Younger people, older people than me that are solving a problem allow us to be part of their dream, but it is as real as it gets. And that's why it's 15 years in, why it's so real. And it's real and it's accurate in real time. If you go and look at it, you'll go, that's when we were in a recession. That's when the COVID hit. Oh, why is this year? They're talking about AI. They're talking about employee retention. They're talking about other things, and you see real time what's happening in the environment.
What's some of the best deals that?
But there's still a competitive piece to it, right?
What?
So I mean, it's still a competitive piece. So like when you're competing against the other sharks,
yeah,
and you're watching some of the successes, and you passed on one, what is that like when you get back on set?
Well, first of all, on set itself, a lot of people go, are you kind of drumming it up? No, if you go out and play football or basketball with your brother, you're going to try to crack his head open, aren't you? Now put yourself in front of 10 million people with $200,000 at risk and ego. I'm going hard after Barbara. Mm-hmm. She doesn't take her medicine, so it's pretty easy. I'm going hard after Kevin. The scoreboard is real. And anybody want to ask me who is the most successful investor in Shark Tank history?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So, there was a company that came on to the show.
Wait, hold on. The shoes have come off.
There's a company that came on to the show called Bombas Socks, and They're going to hit $1 billion this year in sales. More importantly, they've given a pair of socks and garments to homeless every time that they purchased it. Number one brand ever invested in Shark Tank history. And the one that got away is a company called Ring Doorbell, sold for $1.3 billion. Now, the guy that came on, Jamie, became a guest shark, says he was asking too much when he came on the show. And he says he understands why we passed. I think he owes us 5% because after we tenderized him so gently, he went out to the market and raised the money, but he reduced his ask. However, everybody asks me often, do I ever regret? I normally don't regret anything. The only time I do regret something is there was a company that I went after to try to bid off of, and I lost it. And it's the second best-selling company in Shark Tank history, and it is a stupid-ass looking little sponge. It has a smiley face on it. It's called the Scrub Daddy. Lori invested into that thing. I think she's probably done $500 million. And not only did she do $500 million, but every time I walk into the grocery store or something, what do you think smiling at me? And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep it 100. Lori has 12 of the top 20 best-selling products in Shark Tank history. Remember, she was doing this before she was doing Shark Tank. She was finding great businesses. Mm-hmm. She put them on QVC. She knows her customer. So if it's plastic and under $20 and under $50, she's slinging it like crack. She is the best when it comes to consumer packaged goods on Shark Tank, and she knows how to market it. So it is very, very competitive.
So let's talk about the sock situation then, since that's a real life example of a company that worked. That's the number one in Shark Tank history?
In invested in, yes.
So can you talk about the deal? I don't know if people actually watched that episode. Like, what were the asks? What did you agree to? And how was that company able to scale to where it is now?
So thank you. I can't necessarily talk about the agree to, right? Because some of these things fluctuate. And that's the big story they try to put out in the news. Do you realize that the deals don't close exactly like they do on TV? No shit. The sharks actually negotiate when they go through due diligence. Do you ever go to a house and be like, yo, I like the house. I'm going to give you $400,000. Let me check it out. Oh, the boiler's broke. I'm going to give you $400,000. No, you figure it out, right? So the deal, I think, I'm not sure how much it was, but it was, I think I settled, I on a show, I think I did 17.5% or 19 or something like that. They were only doing 800,000. That's the important part. But I think what I can take away from that is that if you look at why I got into the show, when you're ever looking at a target to invest in, you should understand why they want to be in it, into the investment. These guys go on the show. They knew that the last thing I wanted was to invest in clothing companies. I went onto the show because in 2008, when nobody can buy, when nobody has money, nobody's buying more clothes if they can't pay their mortgage. I have 10 clothing companies. I just told you about all of them. 8 of them were dead. The last thing I wanted was more clothing companies because I want to diversify my portfolio. I want to go to Macy's and say, hey, I got young men's, but can I sell you cosmetics? Can I sell you electronics? And I was only, like I said in the beginning, I was only getting pitched clothing companies being put in a box. So I want to go on the show to diversify my portfolio. The last thing I want was socks. However, social media started to really turn and we started to convert online. So they were like, I know Daymond doesn't he likes clothes, but he also likes philanthropy. And he doesn't know, he's dependent on the retailers. We're going to show him how to give at the same time and talk directly to his customer. Because now Daymond makes it for 10, sells it at the store for 20, they sell it for 40. I'm going to show Daymond how to make it for 10, sell it for 40. So they kind of wagged the dog. That was the last thing I ever want to see. And I think that that's a great thing a lot of people can learn from. You can find other ways to extract information or value to somebody you're pitching. And that's what happened. And they scale because, again, the changing of times. When we gave away millions of dollars in the 90s, we never advertised or marketed because we were like, man, it's like making money off the hardship of people. Like, what are we going to do, right? There wasn't social media. And then we got a big backlash. FUBU doesn't support African Americans, and we had already done. We were building, basketball courts and whatever. But now, with social media, people want to know, what did you do for somebody? There's layers. You don't have to advertise it. There's user-generated content, as we call it. Like, hey, I just got something from this company. Thank you. And so now when people buy Bombas socks, like I'll give you an example. I'll talk to my daughter, work at a pizza parlor. I'll say, hey, I gave at the end of the year to all these charitable organizations. She said, end of the year? I gave 20 times a year. Honey, we're only 3 months into the year. I know, but Daddy, and you only work at the pizza parlor. Daddy, every time I bought this, I helped clean up the ocean. Every time I bought this, I stopped human trafficking. And every time I bought this, somebody in need got another pair of socks. And by the way, I'm giving it to you for Christmas, 10 pairs, and you're giving to 10 people, just so you know. And that's the way Bombas has really been effective, and they're hands-on. They're in the shelters. They know everybody. They're not just dumping off boxes. They really are in there, and we are in there. I have the joy of going once in a while. They go all the time. So that's why they're successful. They're really about what they do.